I played for St. Paulinas baseball team. I was either 17 or just turned 18. That's a picture of me. I was a catcher. Grandma was born in '06, so maybe that was 45. So Pap was probably 40 and Grandma was probably 38. This was Clarendon. This is probably teams we played against. The last time I was at bat, I hit a home run over the hill. Game was over, and I went home. Next day, I went to the Army. When I was drafted, most of us were 18 years old, and there was guys 40 years old with kids that were drafted at the same time. That was Camp Blanding, Florida. That was our barracks. We were about 30, 35 miles west of Jacksonville. There he is, Rodriguez. These two guys were from Reading, Atlantic. He was from Reading, Pennsylvania. Atlantic was a good kid. I spent 6 months in Fulda, Germany. 2 weeks in Fusen, Germany. The other 6 months in Weiden, Germany. I went to Fulda, we was in the 3rd Division, 7th Regiment M Company. At that time, there was only 2 full divisions in Germany, the 1st Division and 3rd Division. Here's our building. It's a building we were housed in. 3 floors, and a whole company stayed in one building. I had a cane just to be funny. We were leaving the camp, and there was a mirror. And this pipe that ran across the front of the mirror hid the camera. I took the picture. You had to look at yourself. If all buttons weren't buttoned and proper, you didn't get out of camp. That's part of Fulda. That was just down the street a piece from our barracks. The main street that ran in front of our barracks, the road to Hirschberg was about less than 10 miles away. That was the cathedral in Fulda. It was a big cathedral. We couldn't go to church there on Sundays because it was too cold. There was no heat or nothing in it. In the wintertime, we used to go up on the hill to the monastery. Some general was coming for inspection. Fire hydrant. That's playing cards in our room in Fulda, Germany. That's a picture of Mary. Aunt Mary. She's wearing my sweater with the big C on it. The Red Cross Club across the street from our camp in Fulda. One of my girlfriends in Germany. I think her name was Irene. She was German. She spoke English. We dated occasionally. It was more of a friendship. We used to go dancing, and I never went to see her every day. Our squad in Fulda, because there's Rodriguez, there's Smith from Arkansas. After 6 months, they decided that they were going to dissolve the 3rd Division, and all of us were going to stay. And they sent us for 2 weeks down into Fusen, which is at the foot of the Alps, right near the Austrian border, which was an old cavalry camp. They formed a new group called the Constabulary. They put all this equipment and assigned it to the companies in this constabulary. We were being made to switch from the infantry to the constabulary. Cologne, Germany. We were the honor guard for the dedication of the first steel structure across the Rhine River because all the bridges were destroyed during the war. Cologne was like Pittsburgh to Germany, steel industry. That's Weiden, Germany. Weiden was near the Czech border. Norman Williams was from Lansing, Michigan. I couldn't even drive. I didn't even drive. That's where I learned how to drive. The first thing I drove was an M8. It's similar to a tank, only it was on rubber. That's our wrecker. When I went to Weiden, the lieutenant asked for 13 volunteers. He said, "I'm going to school to be a mechanic." And we went down to that shop. We were trained. 6 weeks, I think it was up. The lieutenant was going to keep 4 of us. And the other ones were going to go back to their companies to do their maintenance on their vehicles. So I was one of the 4 he kept. The guys that went back to their companies, they did first echelon work, which was nothing more than a checkup on a vehicle. At our shop, we did second and third echelon work. We could change a transmission. We made 6 or 10,000 mile checks, but we didn't do them. We had these 13 German mechanics who were prisoners of war, and they were trained on every vehicle the Army had while they were a prisoner. And one guy spoke English, and we talked to him, and he gave his people the work. One of us had to be at the shop every day, so that left us with a lot of free time. That's Lieutenant Dent. He was a great guy. We used to be able to take a Jeep at night and go out. He would let us sign. Anytime the Jeep left camp, it had to have a triptych, where you're going, what you're doing. He would let us sign our own trip tickets, put his name on it. And he says, "You guys abuse it?" He says, "I'll stop it." But we never abused it. Everybody used to look at us. It was great. We had a lot of freedom. Most of the time, if the lieutenant was going to go somewhere, I had to drive. Officers, they weren't allowed to drive. They just weren't. We did second and third echelon. Fourth echelon had to go to ordnance, which was Nuremberg. They did all the big stuff. We had to take the vehicles up to ordnance. Most of the times when we took one up, we had to bring one back that they had worked on. Sometimes we had to stay for a day or two. We would stay at the transit hotel. All the big cities had transit hotels for the military to stay overnight. That was the other girlfriend. She was a pretty good girl. This was in Weiden. The other girl was in Fulda. Even in both cases, they worked for the military because you didn't want to go out on the street and find a girlfriend. VD was filthy over there. This was my friend. This was a German mechanic, and he was a submariner. And he was prisoner of war, and he was one of our mechanics. He was schooled on our vehicles. And this is my buddy. We got along real well with them guys. They loved their job. They had a good job. That was Weiden. They had a football team. And one day we were out there fooling around with football, and I was punting this football. And the coach comes over and he says, "How come you're not out with the team?" And I says, "I'm too busy." I says, "I wanted to play, but I didn't want to give up my job to play football because it was too good." When we were working for Lieutenant Dent, we were dispatched. We didn't answer to our captain or nothing. We didn't have to get up for reveille. We just went about our business with the garage, and nobody bothered us. She was our secretary, and it was in her dad's garage, and we had taken it over. He was a dealer. He had a big garage, and we did our maintenance in their garage. See the wreck truck? We just brought this truck back. He was running a tow truck. He was pulling this truck, and they hit an icy spot. and one of the German mechanics was driving this truck, and they hit an icy spot, and they hit dry pavement, flipped this truck, and the guy got killed. The German got killed. The White Cliffs of Dover, English Channel, coming home. We stopped in England to pick up 88 war brides, English girls that got married to American GIs.